Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Knick family. Welcome to Lunchtime Live Game Recap. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen. The Knicks went into Miami and got, in my opinion, a much-needed win. Definitely don't want to go 1-3 on the season, even though it's early. They defeated Miami. What was that? 116-107 behind a monster 44-point performance by Karl Anthony Towns. A defensive turn-up in the second half. Their top six players were in double figures, and a surprising move, in my opinion, by Tom Thibodeau. So stick around to the end where I'll talk more about that. Salute to the chat, those that's in here early. No difference in the starters: Brunson, Bridges, Hart, Anunoby, Towns. There was question marks about whether or not Hart would play. But if he can walk and he gets the medical clearance, he's going to play. He played 37, 38 minutes, and he was phenomenal. I'll talk more about him later in the show. For Miami, Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Nikola Jovic, I hope I said that right, and Bam Adebayo. So let's get right into it. The Knicks were a hot mess in the first half, at least defensively. Tyler Hero had 20 first half points. Miami shot 60% from the field and 50% from three in the first quarter, right? They shot 50% from the field and 43% from three in the first half. You get a shot. You get a shot. You want a shot? You can have a shot. Just, there was no resistance in my opinion. I thought, and they were down in that third quarter, 13-point lead down. See, they were down 13 points, I should say. Then they went on if I'm not mistaken, 30-10 run to close out that third quarter. And you could see as I'm watching it, you could see it was like they just turned to each other and said, nah, this is not going to happen. And then the turn up began. And you could see the defensive intensity, the defensive aggressiveness, fighting over the screens, 1 and 2 and 3 efforts in that third quarter once they went down by 3. And Miami, they had nothing for it. In that third quarter, they shot 32% from the field and 30% from 3. Now, they were much better in the fourth, but by that time, it was almost a wrap, because no matter, Rozier had, I believe it was 13 points in the fourth quarter. It didn't matter, right? The Knicks had found their mojo at that point. Whatever Miami did, the Knicks were able to match it. Butler with just 15 points for the game. I think OG Anunoby did a great job on him. Bam, he was on self-check. He had 11 points for the game. Again, like I said, Rozier only had 6 points through 3 quarters. Now, I don't think that was the Knicks, right? In the first half, he was just missing shots. And like I said, he had 13 points in the fourth quarter. But just the resiliency of this team. I know there's been some talk about our style of play and our identity, but there are certain things, and that remains to be seen how that plays out. But there are certain things about the Knicks that remains the same. And that is the pride. That's the grit. That's the response, right? The response from Boston to Indiana. And then the response in Miami from the first half to the second half, when they, particularly the third quarter, when they went down by 13. That tells you a lot about the team, right? And it's important for us as fans to see who we got. There's been a lot of turnover on this roster. These new players, do they embody that as well? Or are these players that's going to give up and get down on themselves and get down on each other when things don't go their way? Case in point, we already know about Brunson. But him and Bridges did not have really good shooting first halves. Brunson was 1 of 7 in the first half. Bridges was 2 of 9. They just bricking, right? They're taking the usual shots they should take, but they just weren't hitting them in the first half. The Knicks went down 13, click. Brunson 5 for 11 in the second half, 5 or 6 from the free throw line, no turnovers, 4 assists, 18 of his 22nd in the second half. Bridges 4 of 7 in the second half, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Much more active defensively. This is what you want to see. You're not having a good shooting game. What does that mean? Is that it for you? Or are you able to turn it around? Now, obviously, they're professionals. You expect them to be able to do this, but it was just really good to see both of those guys rebound. We're still learning about Bridges, right? We're learning about his game. We're learning about his mentality. We're learning about how he responds. And early in the season, he's been showing me at least a lot, in terms of his game, but also about his mentality, the way he was able to rebound in the second half. Offensively, I thought it was a free-flowing game, and I'm gonna get into Cat separately. I thought it was a free-flowing game. I didn't think anybody forced it. I think, they each allowed the game to come to them. They made the extra pass. Towns with 25 shots, Brunson with 18 shots, Bridges with 16 shots. And I think that's what we're gonna see going forward. I do think those 3 guys are going to take the most shots game in and game out. One might take more than the other. It may not be in that same pecking order. I think those 3 guys are gonna take most of the shots. OG and Hart, 6 and 7 shots respectively, but they were efficient, in the few shots that they did take. Not much scoring off the bench. 12 points. McBride had 10 of those. I believe Sims had the other on alley oop or alley layup, whatever it was. Um, you know, from Brunson. Hopefully, Precious will be back soon. We can shore that bench up a little bit. Starters are playing 36, 37, 38, 39 minutes a game. I'm not quite sure what the alternative is. Um, we'll talk about that more tonight on the Just Nicking It um show. All right. Looking looking at the looking at the stat sheet, the Knicks shot very well for the game. And the Knicks have been pretty efficient as well for the season. 48.8%, basically 49% from the field, 45% from 3. And 90% from the free throw line. More 3-point volume. They got up 43 pointers, I believe it was, close to half of their shots with threes. I don't know if that continues, but coming into the game, the Knicks were dead last in 3-point attempts. They're not going to be able to survive that way. Or I should say, you're not taking advantage of your strength. You got Karl Anthony Towns, at least last year, hit it at 41%. Brunson last year, I believe it was 40. Um, Bridges, either he was 38 last year or he's 38 for his career. He can shoot it basically above league average. And you got OG Anunoby that can shoot it, and you got Miles McBride, who I think it was over 40%. You got guys that can shoot it. You have to take advantage of your strengths, and being last in 3-point attempts is not taking advantage of your strength, right? And the Knicks were aware of that, and they came out and took 43 pointers, and they didn't force it, right? They generated those threes in the flow of the game. I didn't get the sense that anybody was just popping threes, right? It presented themselves. It was open. It was a shot that they can make, and they took it. And that's the way you want it to be. Um, Bridges took 16 shots, 11 of them were threes. And Anunoby only took, I think it was 6 shots, all of his shots um, were threes. So let's see where, I don't know if it's going to be 40 a night. I don't know if it's going to be 50% of their shots or near 50% of their shots from threes, but you can't be bottom of the league in 3-point attempts when you have these type of shooters on your team. It's a disservice to your team. So hopefully they figured that out, and going forward, 3-point attempts 3-point attempts will be up. All right, moving right along. A little fast today. I'm on my lunch break. Gotta move a little fast. I'm gonna get to the chat as well. Um, these are the team stats. The Knicks. There might have been some concern about the Knicks rebounding with the loss of Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson being out, Hartenstein no longer here, but Cat has more than held his own, on the boards. And Josh Hart, I'll talk about him in a minute, has just been amazing, particularly on the boards. But last night, the Knicks were +3 in rebounds. They had 30 assists, 40 made baskets, and they assisted on 30 of those baskets, right? So that tells you, one, well, the ball was moving. Sometimes assist doesn't necessarily equate to ball movement, but the ball was moving last night. But also guys were making shots, right? They were making shots last night. So of the 40 baskets, 30 were assisted on, only 9 turnovers. We talked about, their efficiency, the shooting line for them. They took 43 pointers. They made 18. I believe that was 45%. They were +4 points in the paint, +2 second chance points. They even threw in 7 fast break points. Not really the Knicks thing, unless it's Josh Hart going coast to coast. They even threw in 7 fast break points. I like to show this slide because it just kind of gives you a sense of just the flow of the game. And you can see from the end of the first quarter to the middle of the third quarter, it was all Miami. It was all Miami until the Knicks turned it up and basically closed the game out. I want to talk about Cat, and again, I promise I'm gonna get to the chat. Cat was the full package last night. He was, I don't know, the cat's out the bag, Cat was in his bag, however you want to call it. He was deep in his bag last night. When your coins fall to the bottom of the bag, that's where he was. We saw it all. The floater, the hook with the left, with the right, the drive into the basket, the 3-point shot. He was, I believe, 5 for 6 from the 3-point line. Went to the free throw line 6 times, made all 6. His drive, taking guys off the dribble, finishing at the rim. We saw the complete package from Karl Anthony Towns last night. And he didn't even seem to be sweating. He didn't even seem to be lathered up. His demeanor was like, this is what I do. This is another day in the park. This ain't no biggie for me. He was steady. With the way Brunson and Bridges shot in the first half, he kept us, somewhat in the game. So it's not like we were down 20 or 24 or 26, right? He really kept us in the game. 13 rebounds as well. 3, he led the team in offensive rebounds with 3, all 3 of them in the fourth quarter. So if Miami was trying to make a comeback, we nipped that in the bud. And 1 or 2 of those offensive rebounds really sealed the game for us, right? As Miami was attempting to make a comeback. He didn't force it. He played within the flow of the game. He's that dude. He's that dude. Now. He's not a rim protector. He's just not. He's just not a rim protector. I think as the season goes on, he'll get better defensively. And I don't think he's bad when you're talking about defending centers, one-on-one. I don't think that's the issue for him. Team defense, I would have to look at the tape more. I don't know if that's the issue for him. But when guys get in the lane for that layup, you're not going to get much resistance from Karl Anthony Towns. And so he's going to look better, at least on that end, as our perimeter defense improves. And it's just not a lot of guys getting in there, right? We had that same issue with Hartenstein last year, at least for a bit before he started, coming along as far as rim protection. I'm not sure if Cat will come along. But again, the better our perimeter defense is, the less it's going to be um, an issue for him. All right, let me check in with the chat before I get to the um the chat. Shout out to Nostalgic Nick, Ralph Unreal, Coach CR617. I got to say your whole name, Coach. We had another coach in here last time. Appreciate you stopping by. Kerry Cox. I appreciate you. I told you Cat's a beast. Listen, on that side of the floor, there's not much you can say about his game. You want to talk about, his defense? I can't say I disagree. But on the offensive end, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that performance. Josh Hart is the motor of the Knicks. I'll talk about him later. Just really, really playing well. Nostalgic Nick. Brunson is better off the ball. Something to talk about. Worldwide L. Been a minute. Salute. Appreciate you dropping by. User. I'm just going to say user. There's a lot going on in that name, though. I appreciate you stopping by. Really enjoy your show. Hope all is well. Can you please answer why Hukporti didn't play last night? I'm going to talk about that. I am going to talk about that. I feel like he's shown the most upside on your bench. Yeah, particularly over Jericho Sims. I cannot argue with that. Old boy G, Hart played 43 minutes on a sore leg. Come on, Tibbs. I talked about this the last time. This is a tough coaching choice because you take Josh Hart out that game, maybe you still win it. Sure, you could try to steal minutes here and there. Put somebody in for another minute or two. You know, and see if there's not much of a drop off. It's tough. It's tough. The Knicks are shorthanded. Tough first 10 games. You don't want to go down 1-3. So you definitely want to play your best players, but you don't want to risk injury. But the drop off is real behind Josh Hart. The drop off is real, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how Thibodeau handles that going forward. Hopefully, Precious Achiuwa will be back soon, and the minutes for all the starters will go down. We shall see. Offense flows better when Cat is the number one option. I think the game is going to dictate that. If Town starts to get more attention, it might be Bridges night. But between him, Brunson, and Bridges, they're going to lead our team at least in shot attempts. If Cat becomes option number one, just imagine how that opened things up for Brunson. Okay. I hope Cat keeps this kind of. I'm not really worried about Cat on the offensive end. No worries when it comes to Cat. Like throughout his career, this is just his game. He didn't do anything different. Obviously he was more efficient. I don't know if he's going to shoot. What did he shoot? What did Town shoot last night? 68%. I don't know if he's going to shoot 68% every game. But as far as his shot making and the different ways he can shoot, that's just his game. What I'm impressed with is the recognition. Who do you take in the post? Who do you drive on? Like the recognition is important, right? You don't want to be posting up big hulky guys and you don't want to be driving on really small guys, right? So his recognition at up to this point in this season has really been um on point. All right. Brunson is catching doubles. Okay. He's gonna have to figure it out. He's gonna have to figure it out. This is what happens. You're the best player on a championship contending team, you're gonna get a lot of attention. He got a lot of attention last year. He has better players, around him. I think Brunson is going to be fine. As the season goes along and as the offense starts clicking even more than it did last night, he'll have all the room that he need. There was no double teaming Towns. I don't think that was a disrespect to him and his skill set, but you leave an open 3-point shooters if you double, right? So, um, you know, um, Brunson's job on the double team is to make the right decision. That's your job. If they double you, somebody is open. Find that guy. Everybody on the floor with him can score, right? I mean, sometimes he's in there with Sims. He even hit Sims, for an alley layup or whatever you want to um, call it. Figure it out. He has to figure it out. All right, player spotlight. Josh Hart last night, 10 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 0 turnovers. No turnovers. 4 games this season, 14 and a half points, 10.3 rebounds, 3.5 assists on splits of 52.6, 27.8, and 81.3. Listen, I don't know. I don't want to take the time out to do it now, just to see where the Knicks are as far as rebounding is concerned. But wherever they are, Josh Hart has a lot to do with it. He's been phenomenal all over the floor. The glue guy, he doesn't need the ball. Um, we're talking about him going to the bench. Listen, the bench is gelling. Excuse me, the starting unit is gelling, right? Do you want to make another change? Like it's not, and don't get me wrong, Precious Chu is a good rebounder as well. He has more size, he can defend as well. But you're just now getting chemistry. So 2, 3, 4 weeks into the season, whenever Precious returns, you're gonna make a change in the starting lineup. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know, especially for a team that hasn't played together, where chemistry and continuity is important. They're trying to build it. I don't know if you make that change, just to give the bench a little more help. He's been phenomenal. The ability to switch him, him, OG, and Bridges, the activity, the ability to get a rebound, go coast to coast. He's been amazing, and he's not even 100%. It's not even 100%. So I don't know. I don't know about him going. About him going to the bench. Um, all right. This is the last thing I have. I might be able to get a sandwich on my lunch break, right? I only got one more thing to talk about. Then I'll check in with the, with the chat again. I love the different lineups last night. There was, if I'm not mistaken, um, was it McBride and Payne with Bridges, OG, and Towns? Then Brunson was in there at some point with Jericho Sims. Campaign was in there at one point with Towns when Brunson was off the floor. McBride and Brunson shared minutes. I just like the different lineups, just tinkering, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. Um, but what I thought was interesting was him going with Sims over Huck Porty in this game. And I gotta say, I like it. I like it. Now, I think Huck Porty is a better, um, I don't know. He's played better than Sims. in my opinion, up to this point. I think he's just, he's stronger, he's more active, he holds his ground more. Like Sims seems to be getting pushed around. He out there looking like Olympus, and he's just getting, pushed around and grabbing rebounds over him, right? Porty has more of a presence, more activities, just stronger. That being said, though, perhaps this was a confidence thing for Tibbs. Maybe he didn't want Sims to lose his confidence. Listen, we're gonna need everybody. We only got 8, or we're only playing 8. Um, you know, you come in for Porty. I mean, Porty comes in for you, and then you don't see the court again. You know, I don't know. So this is not usually Tibbs' thing. And again, I don't know if it is or not. I'm just reading into it. But it if it was, I think it's a good move in just terms of just keeping somebody's, confidence up, that, I just wanted to give them a look. We still need you, it's still important. I think it did something for his confidence to get back in the game. Now the flip side of that is Huck Porty, you know. Hopefully, he's not losing confidence because he came in and he gave the Knicks some really good minutes in that game against Cleveland, and then he doesn't see the floor the next game. Hopefully, just like Derrick Rose was constantly in McBride's ear, at least that's what he told us. And we know McBride, had some words of encouragement for him when he got in the game at the end of the, game versus Cleveland. Hopefully, McBride and others are in his ear as well. Keep your head up. Your time is gonna come. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't get down on yourself. It's gonna be okay. But I thought it was real interesting that Sims got the call again. Um, that's all I have. That's all I have. The Knicks play Detroit tomorrow in Detroit. Detroit is 1-4. They only win, I think it was the last game. They beat Philadelphia without Embiid, without Paul George. But still, for a young team, like Detroit, um, I believe that game was in Philly. Yeah, I think it was Tobias' homecoming. Um, for them to go to Philadelphia and to beat them, I think that says something about them. I don't think they've been getting blown out in their losses. So I say all of that to say the Knicks are not a finished product. The Knicks are not humming along. They cannot come going to Detroit thinking it's a gimme, feeling really good off of the Miami win, feeling like you got it all together. Every game is different. Every game is different. These are all NBA players, that some of the top players in the world, even if they're playing on bad teams. You got to bring it every single night. And the Knicks know that. The Knicks know that. Mentally, they'll be prepared. It's just a matter if they will execute. We shall see. Detroit is 21st in offensive rating, 17th in defensive rating. Again, it's 4 games. Like, just can't put a lot of stock in it, but I put it there anyway, just for the flow, just so you know how we gonna be rocking going forward. But I wouldn't put um much, much stock in that. I got a super chat. I'm gonna be right with you. I appreciate you. All right. Tonight, you're just nicking it weekly show. Me, Ajay, Geoff, Jerrell has been holding me down from the beginning. Tonight at 9:00. Be sure to check us out. We'll talk about, this week's slate of games. We'll talk about the minutes, the starters are getting, whether that's a cause of concern, whether or not um, we need to start playing some of our situational players, which at this point are all young players: Huck Porty, Daddy A, and Kolek. Do we need to start, giving them some minutes? I know when we did the Queen's Court Monday with Lady and the Chef from Two Knicks Chicks, she suggested that you just give them minutes just to get them ready because you might need them, down the line. So just throw them in, give them a few minutes here and there, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, because you might need them down the line. Let's just see. We'll talk about that um, tonight as well. We'll talk about Karl Anthony Towns. A lot of talk that he's soft. We'll talk about that tonight as well. You already know how I feel about that. I don't think he's soft, but he just plays a different type of, game. Um, but if maybe that soft moniker is coming from him, you know, because there's no resistance at the rim, So I would like to see him be a little more stout at the rim defensively. I'm not sure that's in the cards. We shall see. Game recap. I'll be back Saturday morning to recap the Detroit game, and that'll be in the morning, 10-ish. Cutting Room Floor podcast. That's where I talk about things that I didn't get a chance to talk about on any of the platforms that I'm on during the week, or something I want to expound on or change, because sometimes my takes change and evolve over time. So this is where you'll get those takes. And I say it's Sunday-ish, sometimes Sunday. I'll do that podcast. Then, of course, Monday, Queen's Court, Nothing But Knicks, where I got my start. Me, Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises, two Knicks chicks, Lady and the Chef, excuse me, from two Knicks chicks, and Geoff Klafter from the Just Nicking It weekly show. And also he has a sports blog. That link is in the description. It's a daily sports blog, Happily Ever Klafter. I like that. Klafter is his last name. All right, let me check in with the chat one more time. Paris Duggar, always supporting. I appreciate you. Tibbs loves Sims' ability to play up to prevent pick and roll over Huck Porty. We lost to Cleveland because Sims didn't play against the pick and roll like Indy. I'm not sure we lost the game because Sims didn't play. Like, I don't think, I don't think Sims is that big of a factor that you're losing the game over anything he does or doesn't do. Right. But you may have a fair point there. I would have to look at the film. But yeah, I'm not quite feeling Sims. But he's out there. He's out there and he's running up and down and he's active and he's trying to get in there. It just seems like he's not having an impact with that Olympus body. You see that body, he gonna be pushing people out the way, or they're not gonna be able to move him, and that's just not happening. But shout out to Sims, giving us necessary, um, minutes. All right, Coach. That soft moniker comes from Soft Butler, who he bullied twice. Yeah, salute to Kareem. Appreciate you. Leon Mitchell, Cat is not soft, Tibbs is soft. Okay. All right. Okay. He does admit that he is a card carrying, banner waving Tibbs hater. All right. I hear you. DX Relish in the house. Let's go Sixers. Yeah. All right. I see you got that all in lower caps. The Sixers are limping right now. You had a lot to say, DX Relish, during the pregame show when we was doing the roster comparisons, and we talked about the potential injuries with the 76ers, and they are limping into the season. But shout out to you. I appreciate you stopping by. And if the Sixers can regain their health, they will be a force to be reckoned with. I will give you I will give you that. Jerrell, I appreciate you. No games are given. Play hard every night. Knicks 100 a GM. Sims is ill, like ill sick, ill can't play, ill like really good. Which which one? Mike Boy salute. Tibbs can't get away with not giving Huck 40 minutes at MSG. Yeah, they might start calling and chanting his name, right? JJ, appreciate you always rocking. Pistons, we had a call in, JJ. And you didn't call in last night. Hopefully you ready tonight. Pistons are playing tough. Yeah, they are. No doubt about it. Kerry Cox, when does Precious come back? I don't know. I know he would be reevaluated, and I think it was 4 weeks was the initial prognosis. I think I read something that he's nearing his return, but like, what is that? Um, what does that mean? Um, all right. Let's just see. User, I would say McBride has more explosiveness than Bridges. Okay. Kerry, make sure you hit that like button. We got 99 listening. I don't have it. I don't have it up on YouTube, so I don't know how many likes um we have. Definitely get the likes up. It definitely um helps the algorithm. More people will get the thumbnail, get a chance to see what we're doing over here. That was a great play, Brunson to Sims. Yeah, I would like to see Brunson do that more often, actually. All right. Wiz BKLA, appreciate you. I think Cat will average 30, 10, and 3 plus 2 MVP contender. Listen, from your lips to God's ears. If he's averaging 30 and 10, yeah, absolutely. He's going to be an MVP contender. And the Knicks are probably, if he gets the support, will probably finish first or second in the Eastern Conference. 30 and 10 is a lot. But if he can do it, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right. We're so game to game, but Bridges and Josh are key for us. Brunson isn't going yet. Once he's rolling, we will be hard to beat. The thing about Brunson on these double teams, he's still getting to his spots. He's just missing shots. He's just missing shots. Okay. Old head, appreciate you rocking with us. Good morning and salute to all. No concerns with Tibbs' 8-man rotation. It's a long season. I imagine Precious, Mitt, and Shamit eventually getting minutes. Yes. Yes. I think a lot of it also is going to depend on how long are they out, right? I'm not really worried about overuse injuries this early in the season. We're getting into game 50 and 60. And we're still going 8 and these guys are not back or there are other injuries. Yeah, they definitely could be a concern. Shout out to Jay Boogie. Shout out to the family. Blessings, health, happiness. Appreciate you, Boog. Appreciate you. Let me see. Let me go to the top and see. That's a great point, JJ. At Bam Adebayo was one of the better post defenders or big defenders in the league. And he had even though he gives up size, like you could say, oh, well, Cat is 7 foot. He's only 6'8", 6'9", maybe 6'10". But he's been like that since he's been in the league. And he's still been one of the best deep, big defenders in the league. And he had absolutely nothing for Towns. Nothing. Towns has just been really good on the offensive end. There's some things he needs to shore up defensively. He's not a rim protector. Again, like I said, I think his one-to-one defense is good. When he's defending post players, he has to stop getting into foul trouble. I think he fouled out the game before. He had 5 last night. Some of them are offensive. Like, relax. With the fouls. Walter White, 30 assists on 40 field goal made. Masterful. No doubt about it. Darlene Bryan, I appreciate you for stopping by, always rocking with us. I didn't see this. When the young Miami player mocked the Brunson celebration in front of our bench, something changed. I didn't see that. But I will say you could feel the intensity ramp up once the Knicks got down 13. Like you could see, like it was like, yo, if we don't do something right now, we could be 1-3. Things changed, you know? Um, makes the game easier for Brunson. If you're talking about Cat, no doubt about it. Um, yeah. Kevin Nelson, the more games they play together, the better they'll be. Chemistry is not automatic. Yeah, no doubt. No. Mhm. I hear you, King Ribby RM. I can't put that in, but I do hear you. Um, we got an MVP in Philly. Y'all don't know what that's like. You don't know what it's like either. Consistently, you know what I mean? I think, listen, Philly fans, pipe down, pipe down, because you could be an MVP, but you have to be available, right? You got to be available, DX Relish. I ain't getting on you too much. I appreciate you stopping by. My holy king, Cat has a long season to go. You ain't lying. The Knicks too. You right? This is what we got, 70, 78 um more games. All right. Anyway. Yes, Cat is injury prone too. Come on now. So let's stop digging up. Let's stop digging up. He playing all right now, right? Let's just leave that where it is. But yeah, um he is. He is. All right. Okay, Mike Boy, show that game tape to people saying Cat ain't a five, shaking my head. You know, Cat playing, listen, when Mitchell Robinson comes back, I love the fact that we have that versatility to play Cat at the five or at the four. I love that we have that versatility. Um, I like Cat at the five offensively. I'm not sure I love him at the five defensively. But whoever you're putting at the 5 defensively, in my opinion, if that person is one-dimensional and can't do much with the ball, you really taking away what you're gaining on the offensive end. And I don't know how that can be fixed for the Knicks because we just don't have that type of player right now, unless you're going to play Precious 5 defensively and play Cat 4 defensively. Um, that's fine. At least on the offense, you could still have a free flowing offense. But when you have a Mitchell Robinson at the 5 or Sims at the 5, on the offensive end, it's just not going to be as free flowing. Maybe plus minus wise will still come out ahead. So probably won't be much of a difference. Um, but and then you also have to think about Cat defending in space. Now, he played the 4 in Minnesota, you know. And he had Rudy Gobert behind him. So even if he got beat, defending on the perimeter, there was somebody back there to help. But you also have to think about just foul trouble with him out there on the perimeter defending against fours. But hey, like I said, they did it in Minnesota last year. We shall see. I just love the way our offense looks um, with having everybody on the team that can pass, shoot, and drive. The defense, the opposing defense has to scramble. You have to pick your poison. You put Sims and Mitchell Robinson and you don't have to pick your poison. Their defender can roam and double team and stay in the dunker spot and take away the cuts. I'm not saying we can't win that way. And I definitely want us to have that versatility to be able to do both. But I ain't for Mitchell starting at the 5 and Towns at the 4 full time. It's just not something I want, but Thibodeau's gonna run the numbers, right? And he's gonna do um and he's gonna do what's best. Um Yeah. All right. That's all I have. I appreciate everybody dropping by. Just Nicking His show tonight, 9 o'clock. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button. But more than any of that, hit the like button. If you're part of the replay gang, leave a comment. I know I've been slacking, but I'm gonna get back to it in terms of responding to the comments. Share, share as well on your social media platforms. I appreciate all of you. Until next.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
What?
Don't talk.
What?
Your song.